are so thrilled to see you all here and have you join us in welcoming the newest cohort of the CLA program. I know you're going to have a lot of chances, but let's all give them a quick round of applause. The CLA program is a wonderful opportunity to bring together rising leaders from across the city to tackle some of the problems that Chicago and cities around the world are addressing these days. And I know how important CLA is to the city, but it's also really important to the University of Chicago and the Harris School as an opportunity to contribute to building a network of these leaders from the city, from the county, from the nonprofit sector to help us partner in addressing some of those issues. And the CLA Fellows are joining a cohort of really engaged alumni, which I think everyone has witnessed, and a U Chicago alumni community, and we have our claws in you now, and we are never letting go because we know what a wonderful resource you are, not only to the city, but to current and future CLA fellows, to Harris School students across programs, to the university community, as well as to all of our neighborhoods. And the work that you're doing has never been more important. Around the country, we are seeing communities wrestling with challenges that stem from health crises and unequal access to education and housing challenges and transportation access and on and on and on. And you're the solution to these big problems. And I know that that's a lot of weight to put on your shoulders, but we have full confidence. When I look through the list of CLA fellows and alums, I am always inspired by the amazing wealth of talent. And you're sacrificing a lot to come into this program. I think the program is an amazing asset, but you are giving up time that you have none of to be able to devote yourselves to acquiring more tools, making those connections, and being the best part of moving forward that you can be. So your very commitment gives me a huge reason to be optimistic about the future that we'll all be living in here in Chicago and beyond. Now, this program happens because of the hard work of a lot of people. I am so grateful to not only CEG, the home, the Center for Effective Government that houses this program, but to our colleagues across the university who are all also dedicated to the program, from the Harris School to the Crown School to Graham to Booth to the Civic Engagement Office, the Office of Civic Engagement. I just got that order wrong. I was doing so well up until then, wasn't I? I'm going to bounce back. So the Office of Civic Engagement and more. And so this is a sign of how much the university values the work that you're all doing and how important CLA is to all of us. So I'm grateful for that. And it is fitting that CLA is housed at CEG. As we all know, this is a moment of real challenge for effective government, dare I say, for democracy across our country. And having an example of communities working together towards the public good without rancor, with partnership, with genuine dedication and hard work, that is a shining example. And CEG is devoted to fostering that kind of civic community of forward-thinking leaders. So I'm really happy that CEG is available both to be a resource and to be a propagator of the great work that you're doing. Now, as I mentioned, the alumni community, one of the amazing resources that you'll have as CLA fellows is the engagement of your prior cohorts. And this 9th cohort is joining more than 240 leaders. So it's kind of amazing how quickly this network has grown and how engaged it is. So I hope that you will find that an enormous resource and that you will take away from the program tools to do more cross-sector collaboration, to assess the impact of what you're doing and to double down on things that are working and maybe stop doing things that aren't working. That is always really challenging. There are all sorts of things that sound like wonderful ideas that don't play out the way that we were hoping. And taking seriously that assessment and saying, what's working for our community, what's not working, and stopping doing the things that aren't working. It's harder than it sounds. In some ways, it's even more difficult than starting something new, is choosing among a menu of things that all sound good and only some of which are effective. And you're acquiring the tools to be able to do that hard work, make that assessment, and then devote our public resources, which is, of course, money, but also, even more importantly, time and attention to the things that are really making a difference in our community. Now, these are hard problems, so it requires not only bridging these sectors that you're spanning, but also bridging disciplines. And that's why I'm so glad that we have partnership across the university, because the toolkit that you need has to draw on a wide array of disciplines. Even I'm an economist. It pains me to say it. No one discipline has the answers. And that's why you're drawing on so many different tools in your toolbox. And that's one of the things that I think is so effective about this program. So welcome. I think you have a wonderful community to join and a wonderful program in store for you in the next 6 months. And there's no better person to kick us off than our Honorable Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who is here to welcome you to the cohort and to speak about the cohort's role in the city and the program's role in the city. We're so honored to have Mayor Lightfoot with us. She has accomplished so much since her historic election, and the work that she's done to help promote good governance and high ethics and the real collaboration across sectors is a wonderful example and shows how important the work that's done in cities is to the well-being of all of our residents. And of course, she had a full and illustrious career as an attorney before becoming mayor, and has shown us many different ways that the city can more productively effect police reform and education reform and housing reform. And particularly, I know how grateful we all are for the investment in the South Side and the West Side. And as the University of Chicago, our South Side neighborhood benefits enormously from that investment and rectifying the disinvestment of past generations in the South and West Side, I know has been a priority of the Lightfoot administration, and one that is to the enormous good of our city overall, not just those neighborhoods. So she's a wonderful example for us all, and we could not be more honored to have her here today. Please join me.
Well, we have a full house today. That's good. That's good. And I must say, spend a little time before you leave looking at this really glorious room that was restored just last year. And there's a lot of very interesting exhibits that speak about Chicago's history. So don't forget that. Don't skip it. There's a lot of interesting and important Chicago history in this room. Dean Baker, whenever you call, I'm answering and I'm coming. So thank you so much. You've been a great partner, and it's frankly, I think we did this once pre-COVID, and it's great to be back as we evolve to our new normal. So good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be here and welcome in particular the latest cohort of this Civic Leadership Academy. And allow me to begin by congratulating each and every one of you that's been chosen to be part of this 9th cohort of fellows. I know that this program is highly selective, and I'm told that this year's application process was especially competitive. So you should feel immensely proud of being part of this now new network and family of folks who care deeply about Chicago, about Chicago city government, and how to make government processes work better and more effectively for all of us, because the work that we do has to be about the people's work. And trust me, 4 years in, the people's work is not easy. but it is the most important thing I think that we can do, those of us who are truly committed to public service. It is the best thing. We make a difference in the quality of people's lives, and we are right here on the front lines being able to take advantage of that work. So through this program, you'll learn essential leadership knowledge and skills, and to help you explore new perspectives. And during this time, I hope that you will also embrace the effective qualities of leadership, such as communication, empathy, and creativity. And I hope that you also build a network of colleagues and friends far and wide, because that's really, I think, one of the most important benefits of this program. Now, some of you have pre-existing beliefs that are going to be challenged, hopefully through this program, and you're going to grow and expand those pre-existing beliefs. And most of all, I hope that you come away from this experience with a renewed zeal and commitment and focus on how you can best serve our city from where you sit, and maybe you aspire to sit in a different seat, and that's good too. So in just 6 short months, our local government and nonprofit sectors will be honored to embrace you as our future civic leaders. You'll also be joining an alumni network of over 250 nonprofit and government leaders who are strengthened by this program and work to serve the city of Chicago. And let me tell you about a couple that I have personal experience with. Many of these alumni include, for example, CDPH Commissioner Dr. Allison Arwady. Yeah, you should clap for her. Yeah. I just noticed she's in the back of the room. Thank you, Allison, for today, tomorrow, and everything that you do for us. The Department of Family and Support Services Commissioner Brandy Kanazi. And the current Chief of Staff in the Mayor's office, Dr. Sybil Madison, is also an alum of this program. And I look around this room and I'm seeing a few other folks that look pretty familiar to me. I see you, Gabby. I see you, others. So it's great to see you and be part of this. I can tell you firsthand that the people that have gone through this program were great dynamic leaders in and of their own right. But being in this program, I think, really ignited another lever in their toolkit to propel them on to even achieve greater things. And that's important. And there are many more alumni that I could acknowledge across city government and Cook County government and within our communities. But suffice it to say, this program is effective at fostering strong leaders, and these leaders are having a significant impact right now today on the direction of our great city. Since the program's inception 9 years ago, fellows have played an enduring and important role in civic government across Chicagoland. There are fellows who work in economic and neighborhood development, are dismantling broken, inequitable systems, and building new and inclusive, equitable pathways to prosperity for our residents, a really important calling. Fellows who work in education are empowering future generations to ensure our city's lasting success. The fellows who work in policing and violence intervention are making our city a safer place and helping me get to our destination, which is to make Chicago the safest big city in the nation, bar none. CLA fellows are also serving in the worst days of the pandemic, and it continues serving to guide our current recovery on the road to prosperity. So I could go on, but suffice it to say, the CLA fellows help our residents, their neighborhoods, and our entire city thrive. And while previous cohorts have made these incredible contributions, there's always more room for innovation, for creativity, for collaboration. And I hope that you all take advantage of that opportunity. And by virtue of you being here, you're already doing great work and showing exemplary skills to serve our communities. And I'm confident that among you, there are future commissioners, future directors, future chiefs of staff, future leaders who will leave their mark, an indelible mark and legacy on our city government, and the institutions that are essential to create vibrant, thriving communities. So I can't wait to continue working with each and every one of you. And the last thing I'll say is this. One of the best features of the CLA is its focus on building bridges across varying sectors, political affiliations, and agencies. This academy brings together, intentionally, diverse people with diverse backgrounds. No one has a corner on the good ideas, on the next big thing, the innovation, the thing that's going to move us forward and transform the way in which we go about the business of government service. But you could, and bringing together and working with your colleagues, working with alumni, working with this incredible faculty, this is the moment. Grasp it, embrace it with gusto. So embracing diversity is not only an essential tool of leadership, but the diversity within this cohort alone and CLA's alumni network serves our city well. So no matter where you come from or where you want your career to go, you all should be united in your desire to serve our city, and I know you are. The connections that you will form here must be carried with you throughout the rest of your career if you wish to be a truly effective leader. In other words, you're going to get great tools on how to manage, how to communicate, how to collaborate, and through good times and challenging times. Those are all things we all need to know and utilize from time to time. And the importance of cross-sector collaboration and civic service simply can't be overstated. Anybody who works for me knows that from day one, and really frankly, starting in the transition in April of 2019, we talked about breaking down silos. We talked about working across city departments and sister agencies to find that secret sauce and that spark of innovation. That served us well during COVID. It serves us well now as we tackle the challenges of public safety that have plagued our city for way too long. It's serving us now in the less sexy things of making sure that our city is actually in the modern age when it comes to technology and contracting, procurement, and all the other things that make our city government important and necessary. We're pushing forward on things that we haven't tackled before, but we're doing it together. And I guess that's the last point that I will make. We are all better together, no question whatsoever. There's lots of winds of dissension that blow here, across our state, across our country, across our world. But make no mistake about it, people of goodwill have to rally together. We've got to find that common ground. We've got to build those proverbial bridges for others to cross over to us and for us to cross over to them. Let's build them. Let's meet in the middle. And let's get some great things done for our city. Thank you very much. Good luck and enjoy. Thank you.
Hi. I'm Will Howell. It's great to see all of you. So I want to acknowledge the extraordinary support that Mayor Lightfoot offers our program, the people who thank you. Better? Thank you. The people who she brings to the program, the support that she offers to the program, the leadership that she shows the city. I'm a political scientist, and that's what I do. That's my day job. And the model that we have of elected officials is one wherein mayors, legislators, are single-minded seekers of re-election, and the way that you get re-elected is that you tend to the needs of people who are more likely to vote, and the way you attend to them needs to be visible, and you need to have monuments of your success that everybody sees. And to have, I'll say, a mayor who puts at the top of her list deep investments on the south and west side that are not always seen, that presumably, we hope, will redound to the benefit not just of us today, but to future generations, is an act of political courage. And I want to acknowledge it. I also want to thank Dean Baker for being here. She is here on these events. She's here throughout and all kinds of spaces in between in providing personnel support, infrastructure support, moral support, the support of humanity to keep us going. And I'm immensely grateful for all that you show our program. Yes, may we? I want to take just a couple of minutes. We're at year 9 to sort of zoom out and look back briefly at like where we came from and where I think that we're going and like what's at play here. Like what are we doing here? Like what's this about? Which is something which we've really struggled with for a long time to try to make sense of what was initially just a notion. I mean, what led to the formation of the Civic Leadership Academy was a notion that a number of people had that the divisions between the government and nonprofit sectors in this city weren't just a problem, but they were a missed opportunity. And that investments in the individuals who sit in those two spaces to bring them together might lead to something interesting and something good. And so we're going to put it under this thing called the Civic Leadership Academy, not knowing altogether clear what leadership is. But there was this sense that something good might come of it. It might come in the form of clarity or deepening one's commitment or in leading to collaborations that aren't currently happening or increasing efficiencies, any number of things, but we didn't know exactly. Like, we really didn't know. And so there led a lot of experimentation and trial and error. And I'll say this time of year for me and for us is at once super exciting and super scary because like when I teach, I usually, like there's a syllabus and here's the material you're going to learn, damn it, and I'm going to test you on it at the end of it. And that's not quite what we do here. We put things in motion and we see where they go. And with each class, different things emerge. But there's this bet that something interesting is going to happen, and they often do. And I'm super excited to see what happens here over the next 6 months with this new class. But there we were, right, with these notions and these commitments 9 years ago, and then an effort to experiment, which led to a lot of new faculty that were brought forward, and new classes that were taught, and storytelling suddenly became a part of our curriculum, and we were bringing in people from, as you saw, who are directors in theaters, which was not a thing that we were thinking about from word go. But it seems to me that when we think about what the stakes are involved in what we're doing, it's first, most immediately, thinking about the possibilities for and harnessing those possibilities for social change in a city that is at once beautiful and troubled and that needs social change, and that the stakes of our work have to do with the health of democracy itself. And I want to just say a couple of words about why I think that's so. And at least my own thinking about it, it's become clear as the Civic Leadership Academy has become a part of the Center for Effective Government. I mean, it's like those Russian dolls, the Civic Leadership Academy, Center for Effective Government, Harris School, University of Chicago, okay. But that connection between Center for Effective Government and CLA. So why is that? What does a healthy democracy look like? Well, it seems to me a healthy democracy is what it involves is bringing together diverse populations who are going to speak across difference, not just to have their voices heard. This is not just an exercise in self-expression, right? But in order to get something done, in order to actually make a difference in the lives of people who look to government institutions, nonprofit sectors, agencies to lift them up or attend to crises or assign meaning to loss. And I think when we see it in that light, I think we can see how ours is not a healthy democracy, not at the national level, not at the state level, and I'll say it, not here not as healthy as it could be here in Chicago, where for too long we learned to live with our pain and learn to find ways to accommodate problems that have a profound and enduring effect on the lives of the people who live here. Problems are recognized and solutions are offered, and monies are spent, but the problems that the public expects to see solved are not solved. And that's a problem for democracy. It's a profound problem for democracy, because this failure, beyond simply letting down the lives of people who look up to institutions to attend to their needs and wants, also sets in motion a kind of anger and disaffection and distrust, which is corrosive and polarizing. And it makes tomorrow the job of coming together to push the needle all the more difficult when we have learned to live with, as I say, the problems that affect our city. And so what we try to do in the Center for Effective Government is to say, okay, what do fixes look like? And what do fixes look like to our institutions, right? How might we rethink the design of our institutions, the rules that govern our institutions, the ways in which our institutions interact or fail to interact? How do we attend to that kind of work, that scaffolding of democracy, so that our institutions work better, so that you all are not just in this defensive posture when you're stationed in one of these institutions, but that these institutions unleash your creativity and allow you to make impactful decisions and set to work on moving the needle on these problems that need attending to. And so in that sense, I think we've come to have a bit of a point of view at the center, and also when it comes to CLA itself, which is that we want you all to be thinking about not just how do you navigate the institutions that populate our civic sector, not just how do you navigate them, and not just thinking about those institutions as perches that you sit on by virtue of your current place of employment that you speak out from, but that those institutions might be the subject of your leadership itself. That you might look upon those institutions and think, maybe we're not doing this quite right? And this is how we ought to reconfigure what we do so that we can get to work on, yes, seeing, recognizing diversity and difference, but harnessing that diversity of difference so that we actually do something. We actually make a difference in the lives of Chicagoans. So there we are, something of a charge. That's the work of the center and the kind of direction I'm excited to see us take. And we have lots of partners. I got a really great partner in Sadia Sindhu. Let's just. She's the executive director of the Center for Effective Government. But I'm going to read out some other things because the people need to know. She's a fellow in the second class of the Civil Society Fellowship. That's a partnership with the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, and the Aspen Institute. She's a member of the Aspen Global Leadership Network. She currently serves on the Research Advisory Council for the Partnership for Public Service and is an inaugural member of the Vote is Sacred Thought Leaders Organizing Committee, a national multi-year nonpartisan civic engagement initiative led by Interfaith America. She does it. She's a doer. And we are so pleased to have her in our camp.
So we tried to script Will Howell. One cannot script Will Howell. So good evening, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here with you all. And before I begin, I really want to take a few moments to acknowledge all the people who have made this moment possible. I know we've had a lot of thank yous, but I'm filled with gratitude tonight. First of all, I want to thank Will, not just for your warm welcome, but for your partnership and your leadership and stewardship of the Civic Leadership Academy and the Center for Effective Government. What an absolute honor it is to come to work with you every single day. Dean Baker, thank you for your leadership and your unwavering support of the Center for Effective Government. It is because of you that we're able to make investments like the Civic Leadership Academy. I also want to thank Mayor Lori Lightfoot for her remarks earlier today, and also to Cook County Board President Preckwinkle for joining us for a private champagne toast with our alumni. We thank you both for your leadership and for your continued support for CLA. You'll hear tonight from Jermaine Harris, Lieutenant of Police at the Chicago Police Department, a CLA Class of 2019 Fellow, who will deliver an alumni address on behalf of the entire CLA community. Thank you, Jermaine, for your leadership in Chicago and for lending your voice and words of wisdom for this next cohort. I must also say a warm thank you to the entire team at the Center for Effective Government, past and present, and my colleagues at the Harris School of Public Policy and the University of Chicago, and the numerous supporters for the CLA program. You are all a part of what makes this so special. I also want to express our immense gratitude to our funders whose generosity makes this program possible. They are the Harris Family Foundation, the Searle Funds at the Chicago Community Trust, the Walder Foundation, the Reich Family Fund, Wicklow Capital, and the Harris School of Public Policy. Thank you. And most importantly, thank you to all of you who are joining us tonight to welcome the 2023 cohort of the Civic Leadership Academy, especially to our alumni. Can we just have a round of applause for our alumni? What you can't see from back there is a good 75% of this room is CLA alumni. I see you. I also want to thank the family, the friends, and colleagues who joined us here tonight. We're going to ask a lot of our fellows over the next 6 months, and we're going to lean heavily on your support as they are part of this program. We recognize what a deep investment you may not fully recognize you have made by joining us here tonight. Thank you. As we embark on 2023 with this new cohort, I think it's also worth looking back and reflecting on why CLA has endured and continues to have a lasting impact on our civic sector. Will reminded us moments ago about the fragility of our democracy and the ways in which the stakes are heightened as our democratic institutions falter, fall short, or come under attack. At the risk of countering his message with one of over-optimism, I'd like to remind us too that we, the Civic Leadership Academy itself, and you all, our fellows, are resolved and resilient in the face of these challenges. It is for these reasons that CLA continues to succeed. Over the past 9 years, CLA has evolved to meet the demands and needs of the moment. We have continued to convene civic leaders across difference, virtually and in person, and home and abroad, and all in the service of strengthening our city's civic infrastructure. CLA has succeeded thanks to its deep alignment to the mission and goals of its many homes at the University of Chicago. Within the Center for Effective Government, CLA breathes life into the fact that leaders are constrained and enabled by the institutions within which they serve. There is an essential role of leadership. Their essential role of leadership is to challenge and to strengthen those institutions from within. Seated at the Harris School of Public Policy, CLA takes to heart the idea that for leaders to effect meaningful, lasting change, they must be armed with the tools of serious inquiry, robust analysis, and rigorous ideas grounded in truth and careful study. And the long history of the University of Chicago reminds us at CLA that freedom of expression and the free exchange of ideas enable us to not only expose our differences, but to listen, to hear one another, to learn from one another, find common ground where it exists, and to clarify our differences when they do arise. CLA has also succeeded because it is a true reflection of our city. CLA doesn't sugarcoat the kinds of challenges that our fellows deal with every single day. We ask hard questions. We present fellows with difficult choices about leadership. We're honest about trade-offs and shortcomings. We also ask fellows to challenge their own assumptions and those of others. That's because Chicago faces real challenges. Many of them are enduring and have stumped our leaders with even the best of intentions. Some are new and still evolving, and others are yet to emerge. But by bringing together a cohort that mirrors the city, a patchwork of sectors and institutions, experiences and identities, our fellows are empowered to understand their city better and to find common ground. But most importantly, CLA has succeeded because of our fellows and alumni. They have persevered. They are determined, thoughtful leaders who are eager to learn from one another. adapt to less than ideal circumstances, and find creative solutions. This is reflected not only in the classroom, but their work every day across Chicago and Cook County. They don't simply settle for easy wins or short-term solutions. They recognize the complexities of the challenges we face. Even when the work is hard, they dive deeply into those challenges in ways that unlock the potential for our city and our country's long-term success. Because of this, our program really isn't a typical leadership development program. We are resilient in the ways in which we grow our program and adapt with our fellows, our city, and our county. Will spoke about this a bit earlier, but in CLA, we really don't script insights or breakthroughs. If we did, it'd make our work a lot easier, but we don't. Our fellows come to this experience open to its potential to transform. This work of learning with and from those who hold different beliefs than ourselves is personally very meaningful to me. As someone who has built their career at the University of Chicago, an institution built firmly on the principle of learning through a free exchange of ideas, I can attest to profound moments of personal growth and insights that have come from being in rooms and in spaces with those who hold very different views and lived experiences than my own. This too has made CLA resilient because it is committed to experimentation and open to the possibility of discovery. Our program and our fellows approach difference with curiosity and humility and treat discomfort not as a threat, but as an opportunity. We don't always see the results of these discoveries right away, but judging from the past 9 years and the success of our fellows and alumni, they have a profound impact on our great city. And so as we approach our 10th year anniversary of the Civic Leadership Academy, CLA itself has become an important institution in Chicago. As administrations and challenges come and go, CLA and its network of fellows endures, playing a pivotal role in shaping our city and strengthening its civic fabric. Like all strong institutions, CLA and its community are an instrument of lasting change. So dear fellows, our 9th cohort, our charge here for the next 6 months and lasting far beyond is for you to come away with deep appreciation for critical thinking, introspection, and collaboration, all essential qualities in effective leaders, that you lead on one another both in moments of challenge and celebration, and that when real opportunities for change arise, our fellows have a community, this community, of partners to call on. And we, in turn, will be leading on you as we continue this important work of leading Chicago to a brighter future. Congratulations. Now, in the words of my dear colleague, Will Howell, let's get after it. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce our alumni keynote speaker, one of the best-dressed Chicagoans out there. I see you, Jermaine. Lieutenant of Police at the Chicago Police Department and Civic Leadership Academy Fellow of 2019, Jermaine Harris.
Found a cell phone. Might get a message. I don't know. You can mess with Sadia's phone. This is great. Good evening, CLA family, friends, supporters. My name is Jermaine Harris, and I had the honor to represent both my community and my career in Class 5 of the Civic Leadership Academy. Class 5, where you at? So during my class of 2019 experience, I worked as a Chicago police officer at the rank of sergeant doing community policing. And so as of about 4 weeks, very proud to share that I am a newly promoted lieutenant with the Chicago Police Department. So when Sadia and the crew reached out to me to offer some remarks from an alumni perspective, I had to draw inspiration from the esteemed philosopher Calvin Brodus Jr. He once said, you got to go back in time in order to move forward. So really to your statement, Will, about that zooming out and looking back. So I wanted to offer some perspective. So sitting here now, 4 years removed from my leadership experience, what are some of the things that I would have wanted to know, right, when I was sitting in that front row? Some of the things I take away with those lessons as I lived my life. And so I want to share some of those with you all. Well, one specifically being the privilege and the responsibility that we have. And not just to the class of 23. I think everyone here has a responsibility because we're going to be touched by them. And specifically to organizations. First, I have to commend the bosses that recommended individuals on their team to invest in them. I think that pursuit of building these pipelines, creating sustainability within the organizations is the difference between our continued success or falling on our faces. But it doesn't really just end with the nomination. What they're going to need is that coverage and protection to be fully present. Resist that urge, bosses, to send that text during those Friday sessions. They need to be focused. That's an important opportunity. These months are going to fly by. Before they know it, it's going to be graduation. And all those times that they were able to connect and release and remove all those burdens from the day-to-day are going to be huge. My boss sat in the stands, sat in the crowd in 2019, retired Chief Ernest Cato. He was the consummate leader, always in the front, but there was never a moment that I didn't feel he was behind me, pushing me forward. I think we all should aspire to have our staff and team see us that way. There's a responsibility, Sadia mentioned the donors and the sponsors. There's a responsibility to continue to invest in people. Humanity is the fuel that drives transformation. When we see failures in our society, it is a direct result of us not investing in people. Continue to support CLA. Continue to send our leaders 250 and climbing. Continue to support leaders across Chicago. And then finally, front row. The biggest responsibility sits on you, right? We talked about fully present, but what does fully present mean? It means to show up as yourself. The scars, the trauma, the joy, the struggle, all of that needs to be here because that's what we need from you. We need you to be authentic. So here we are. Class has started. These sessions are going on. For me, it was my first ever experience doing leadership development. So it was a big deal. What do I expect? How does that go? And so I really wanted to think about what was a way to really capture what the expectation is thinking back. And I really draw that. It didn't really come from, an esteemed professor or some sort of subject matter expert. It really came from a first-generation immigrant woman I met on the west side of Chicago. She had been struggling to build support on her block because of crime, because of violence, trying to figure out ways to build our community together. And she was a fighter. Well, she is a fighter, she is a fighter. And she fought hard. And we had a conversation really talking about what was the difference that got you over the hump to be successful. And she tells me something that's so profound. I'm telling you, I'm going to say this. It dropped me when she told me. She says, first thing I did was I stopped fighting and I started loving. Like, okay, all right, this is going good. And what she got out of that was the profound statement I took from that, and I really try to live by it. She says this. She says, Jermaine, the most revolutionary thing you can do is to get to know your neighbor. Whoa, right? Wow. That basic, simple thing of building human connections and relationship is what starts everything. And here's an opportunity, the power in this cohort. All of you are assembled together. I know Sadia and Will and Hopi and the team spend hours upon hours building this concoction of leadership and amazingness. But it's easy to get to know people you have things in common with. It's really easy when your political views align. But what happens when it's someone you may not agree with? How do you work towards that? And I think the key to doing that very thing is through a radical welcome. So radical welcome, I have a friend who did a TED Talk on this, Dr. Hassan Batts. He's from Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. He talks about the radical welcome. It's really this concept of this cultural practice in which those who we view as other or different, we make an intentional effort to offer invitation. And so I'm a police officer, right? We understand. This has been one of the toughest times to be a police. Right? Our country, our nation, our city, our county, the challenges of systemic racism, the issues and things that have happened to black communities is prevalent, has always been in our face, but even more so since the murder of George Floyd. But I had the benefit of receiving a radical welcome from my cohort. Gabby and I, as police officers, we were welcomed. I got a radical welcome from Dessa here. She talked to me and it helped me understand how data and using surveys can better track the way in which we engage in communities. And I use that to this day. I got a welcome from Paul back there as we had conversations about street outreach, community violence intervention, and how that work directly aligns with first responders in our efforts to reduce violence in the city. I got a radical welcome from Jocelyn there, as she always checked on me to make sure my well-being and my mental health was okay. A radical welcome from you, Mark. During 2020, we had issues related to some officers being verbally abused by the FOP because they decided to kneel at protests. Mark joined me, along with Lori and Pastor Neil, and we kneeled at one of those sites where officers were being ridiculed. They gave me a radical welcome, and I stand here today being able to use those experiences and things they gave me to develop a philosophy where I see social justice as our crime prevention strategy. And that came from my cohort, giving me that influence. You've got an officer class of 2023 that's in your cohort now. Commander Smith is going to need a radical welcome from you, so that hopefully he'll be able to stand in front of a crowd and talk about how the insight and the things he received from you helps him improve juvenile justice across our city. So the thing I leave with you, be authentic, bring yourself, be fully present, be radical. And so with that, the purpose of the night, Hopi, you can go ahead and introduce us to this amazing cohort. Thank you all.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Jermaine. It's going to be really hard to follow that. For sharing your reflections and words of wisdom. It's so special to have an alumni speaker who can talk about their experience, and we just really appreciate it. We're grateful to have you and so many CLA alums here tonight to celebrate this important occasion. My name is Hopi Melton. I'm a program associate here at the Center for Effective Government. So it is my distinct pleasure to be here for the moment you've all been waiting for, the announcement of the 2023 Civic Leadership Academy Fellows. So Sadia and Will are here. As I call the fellows' names, they will join us on stage for recognition and a photo. And we remind you that you should applaud after every single person. All right. So we begin with J.C. Avalotis with the Polk Brothers Foundation. Natalie Barrera, A Better Chicago. Cindy Cambrai, Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. Lizette Carretero, The Resurrection Project. Kathy Chan with Cook County Health. Dion Dawson with Dion's Chicago Dream. Clancy Disa with the Seminary Co-op Bookstores. Armando Garcia with Chicago House and Social Service Agency, and also Armando is also a Walder Foundation Fellow, so congrats, Armando. All right, Raquel Garcia Alvarez with Forest Preserves of Cook County. Kenneth Dilks Jr. with ITAB Development, and he's a Warriors Family Fellow. Shelley Hughes with the Chicago Public Library. Nina Idamudia with the Chicago Department of Planning and Development. Kiran Joshi with the Cook County Department of Public Health. Christina Kalpa, Cook County Justice Advisory Council. Ricardo Lopez, Chicago Department of Housing. Michael Martin, Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Libby Massey with Chicago Public Schools. Nick Roberts Mathudas with the Cook County Office of the President. Lakeisha McFadden with the Centers for New Horizons. Kimberly Morris with Chicago Neighborhood Initiatives. Sharice Pryor with BPI. Mira Raja with P33. Lauren Raymond with Cook County Bureau of Human Resources. Chelsea Ridley with Open Books and Lawndale Pop-Up Spot. Chelsea is also our Jessica Breyer Scholar, which honors one of our alums from 2017. So congrats. Luis Roman, JB and MK Pritzker Family Foundation. Vernon Schleier with Law Office of the Cook County Public Defender. Jamie Simone with Chicago Department of Transportation. Lindsay Sloan with Children's Home and Aid. Jared Smith with Chicago Police Department. And Jorge Valdivia with the Chicago Latino Theater Alliance. Jorge is another Walder Foundation Fellow, so thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the 2023 cohort of the Civic Leadership Academy. Standing ovation. So, congratulations again to our fellows. Thank you to everyone who spoke today, our partners at the University of Chicago and Harris School of Public Policy, our CLA alums, and the friends, family, and supporters who joined us here in person or online via live stream. This concludes evening's program, but we invite all of you here to join us for food and drinks in the reception hall. Thank you all very much and have a great evening. Appreciate it.